Hey, good evening, folks. It's Jason here. I'm one of the pro traders at TrueTrader.net. Listen, I'm a former market maker. I've been around the business since the early 90s, 93 or so. Feel like I have a lot to offer. Coming up with this midweek report every week. Hopefully, you guys are liking it. If you are liking it, do me a favor and smash that. I hate the word smash, but hit the like button and subscribe so you see when they're coming out. Ricky's putting out one as well on Sundays, which is awesome. And hopefully you guys are liking the content that we're putting out. So let me just dive into this real quick. So let me start off with a disclaimer. So TrueTrader nor its representatives are registered as a security broker-dealer or investment advisor, either with the SEC or any state regulatory authorities, not licensed or qualified to provide investment advice. Yeah, this is 100% for entertainment purposes only, for educational purposes. Please treat it as such. Don't follow me. Always have your own plans, guys. These are just some ideas and things that I'm looking at. So with that being said, let's get into a little bit of the commentary. Not much to say about the markets. Markets were up a couple hundred. The Dow today, NASDAQ was down fractionally. I still say the same thing that I've been saying is I think, looking at this is a chart right now that we have up on the SPY. I still am thinking that we need a little bit more of a pullback. You can look at the QQQ as well. Let me just pull up QQQ. Hang up. Sorry, 1 second. I don't know where I typed that, but it's somewhere on my screens. And you can see the Qs are coming back a little bit. This never even came back to the 50. So I would just like to see a little bit of a retrace. We'll see what happens. Listen, if the market keeps going, it keeps going. I said this last week, is we don't control the markets. You just got to kind of adapt and see what you're seeing live on the trade. So with that being said, let's see some of the symbols that I'm looking at this week. Let's start off with SONO, SONO. All right, first thing is I wrote down the levels, 3630 and 3510. So 3630 I wrote down. There's a monthly pivot, so they reported some earnings, both strong numbers and guidance on this. So what I'm kind of looking for is some sort of retrace tomorrow morning. 3630 is going to be right into this monthly pivot, which you could see. Old resistance becomes new support, correct? So I'm looking at this old resistance point as a new support. Lines right up with this monthly right here. That'd be the first point that I have an interest. The other area that I'm having an interest is kind of like a gap to close. If it comes back into this short-term resistance here, 35, these highs, as well as a previous close, I'll look at from the whole number right at 35, just a little bit above it. 35.10 is what I wrote down for a long. I'm looking for longs on SONO today. So the other one that I'm coming up with, the next symbol, is going to be BLNK, BLNK. This was a miss. I wrote down on this that the earnings missed, the revenue beat. The reason I'm looking at BLNK, by the way, on this, even with the earnings missed on the bottom line, is the industry. I think there's a lot going on with the industry and that EV market. I think there's going to be buyers around in this, and so what I'm looking for is a bounce. I wrote down 30.10 and 29.40. So in the post market right now, it's down to 34.60. Again, 30.10. It's pretty far away, but it's right off this quarterly, right in this area here. I'm in this prior support area right here. So I wrote down right off the whole number, which it's going to be off 30 or this quarterly pivot. That's what I'm looking for, but it's right into this previous support area. I think it should hold there. I'm not sure it's going to get there. The stock has an ATR of 2.5 or so. I think it's definitely a possibility. So we'll see what happens on BLNK, but I do like the opportunity there if it gets real heavy. Let's talk about eBay for a sec. eBay. So this is an interesting one. Their Q3 guidance was off. And you saw a pretty decent wash in the post market here. It's bounced off a little bit. But what I'm looking for on EBAY is I wrote down 65.30 and 63.20 for a long. Let's talk the long side first. And this is in the post market where you saw the bounce, 65.50 right in this area here. Prior support in here. You got a quarterly, you got a monthly, and you also got an annual. There's a lot of support in that area there. So I think that's going to be my first point to look. If it breaks through there early, 63.20 is the next level. You got a one of my moving averages I use as well as a monthly pivot. So that would be on the long. I don't think it gets down to that 63.20. We'll see. From the short side, I definitely would love a short up in the 72.50 area. That's prior resistance. I don't think it's going to get up there, but I want to have the point. It's all about being prepared. I've talked about this many a times, guys. Is it's about being prepared. All of a sudden, there's some magical strength in the name, and a buyer's around. We can't control whether it's the sellers and the buyers. We just got to kind of follow what the market's showing us. That all being said, if there is a buyer up there and pushes up in the 72.50 area, prior resistance, I'll look at that as a really nice fade. So I'll be watching that as well. Next name I came up with, this is actually SIX. Came up on one of my daily scans. I always refer to my daily scan. It's something I use. I use a system called MarketSmith where I do some scans and compare some fundamental analysis along with some technicals on it. But anyway, SIX is one that I was looking at. And I'm looking at 4110, which is a previous low and a monthly pivot. This was all over the scan there. I liked it, what it looked like. So I'm looking at SIX at 6 flag, excuse me, right here, prior low, monthly pivot. And I think there's actually just hang on, excuse me, 4110, and I think there's a 20-day as well, right there as well. So that's what I wrote down on SIX. Next name, Weight Watchers. Okay, so they came out with their earnings. Yes, they were bad. I think this is oversold. It's as simple as that. I've been watching the trading over the last, since last night and this morning, and I'm seeing buyers in there. Obviously there's a seller. He's keeping it down right now, but I wrote down 2310. 2310 area right here, which is trading just below. You can see if I drag this chart a little bit further left, you're going to see support in this area as well, which is only, the first part of this year. I like this opportunity as far as this weakness. It's also a previous quarterly down here. So we'll watch off this 2310 area. That's really the low is 2280 or so today. Let me see what it was, 2282. But I'm going to look just above that at the 23 level. I wrote down 2310. Again, I think it's overdone. I actually like it for a swing, and we'll see what happens. I'm not looking for it to get back into the, immediately back up into 33, but I do think it's going to find those a push into 30 nearer term. So we'll see what happens. And I'm talking swing. As far as what I'd look for in a trade on this, if I bought off 23, I'd be looking for a couple points out of it, and then maybe eventually keep some on for an, oh my God, run into like 26, 27. So we'll see what happens there. That's on Weight Watchers. Next one. This is one that I traded today. Go also came out. Let me pull it up here real quickly. So this is a company, they kind of just met their earnings. Wasn't anything fancy. It got hit a bit, and it came into a level, and I love when I saw this. So I have a previous low, a quarterly pivot, and a monthly pivot, GO. If it tested again tomorrow, I'll probably take that same exact trade that I took today. It actually was a pretty decent one. So it's as simple as that. It's I'll go back to the well, GO, watch it off this 27 area, which is a previous low, quarterly, and a monthly pivot. That's on Go. JKS, looking at a long off 54.55. So this is one that I'm watching. I like how it's kind of came back, tested the 50-day, pushed right back up. I want to kind of be around on JKS. It's known to have some pretty big days, as you can see. Again, this is one that I see a lot of things here. Previous low off this level, annual pivot, a monthly pivot. It's been holding this support level. Today I had a little bit of weakness that, there was an opportunity there. I'll look for tomorrow, see if there's another opportunity to buy it right off the support level. Nice tight risk there. So that's JKS. So 54.55 is what I have written down on JKS. HOLX is an interesting one I have, but if you drew a horizontal line from all the way over here and just kind of looked right across, it's getting really close to a breakout area. This is not one that has a huge ATR, 1.5. You can see my ATR is down here in the corner. But this is one on HOLX. I wrote down 76.30, which is just below the previous close and just above this quarterly pivot. I think it actually was the previous low from today. That's today's low, 76.33. So that's the area that I'm going to look at, but I want to be around for a pop on this. You could actually look at, obviously there's some earnings moves, but if you look at some of these moves, it's had, I know it's $1.50, but it's had $3 days. And why wouldn't it be if it did have that strong day? I want to be around for this breakout here. So I like the area that I'm buying it off of. So that helps out. So HOLX, I'll watch 76.30. Two more left, guys. KSS is the next one. Again, this is a stock, similar idea. There's a couple similar ideas where I'm looking for a kind of a breakout candidate, possibly. I'm looking at 55.25, 55.25, which I wrote down was today's low, and I'm looking at this breakout right here. And this KSS has had days where it's had pretty big candles, pretty big moves. I want to be around for it if it does push there, and I'm looking for 59.60 kind of push once it clears these levels. So we'll see what happens. I think it's around 57.5. So I want to be around on KSS. My entry would be around 55.25. We'll see what happens. And that is off the previous low. That's KSS. Last one is DDD. Had really nice earnings the other day. Had this huge move. Buyers were all over it. Had this gigantic move. listen, those buyers don't go away. Made a nice retrace today. Okay, held the quarterly. What I wrote down on DDD was 33 and 31. So obviously 33 is that quarterly pivot right there in today's low, and 31 is going to be just above this 50-day and this monthly pivot. So that's what I wrote down on DDD. I don't think the buyers have gone away. I think it just took a breather after that big move that it had a couple days ago, and I think they'll be right back at it, and I think it'll push back up into that 40 area near term. So I want to be around on DDD. I think there's definitely some room left on this name. So watch DDD. Post market's 33.80, so it's pretty close. 33.90, so it's pretty close to my initial entry. So we'll just kind of see how that plays out in the pre-market tomorrow. If it's too close, I'll either give it the first 10 minutes, make sure it doesn't wash through it, and then trade it off those previous lows. Or what I'll do is if it does wash through it, I already have my next level all set up, which is off that 31 level. So that's about being prepared. So anyway, I hope you guys are liking these. Please do me a favor and continue to leave comments. I'm reading them. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys subscribe and make sure you like. Come check us out over at TrueTrader.net. I think you'll find everybody there open to talking and teaching, and I think you'll really love the community over there. But hopefully you're liking what we're putting out for free here on this Wednesdays, and also Ricky's doing an amazing job on the Sunday night preps as well. So appreciate you all. You guys all have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, guys.